So this next video isn't necessarily about something that's been requested, but it's a question that I answer a lot, and it's how to make springs. Spring is just a coil, and the easiest way that I know how to make it is you make a circle that's actually not on the origin. It's spaced some distance away. We're going to make a line that's going to be tangent to the circle. It's going to be on that outside quadrant. You're going to dimension how far that line is away from the center here. This is going to represent the outside radius of your spring. So you would take your diameter. Let's say my diameter was 0.25, and you're going to divide that in half. So it'd be 0.125. Okay. This circle is going to represent the diameter of your wire. So let's say this was 0.015. Just for kicks. Okay, we're going to finish the sketch, and coil is here under this tab next to revolve. The axis that you're going to pick is actually in your origin folder here. It's the one that goes straight up. And the coil size, you can change your type to revolutions in height. So you can count how many turns that your coil makes. Let's say this one makes 15, and the height, we'll leave that at 1 inch. So there you have some kind of a coil. Now this doesn't look like most springs because they're not typically just open at the bottom. So we're going to make a new sketch here. We're going to right click and go project geometry and click on the end of that spring and finish our sketch. And we're going to make a new coil using that face, using the same y-axis that we had before, but this time we're going to change the direction of it. And this time we're going to change the number of revolutions. Let's call that to 2, and the height we'll make 0.125. Now let's go even smaller than that. Let's go 0.05. Okay, so a lot of times when you're looking at a spring from pens and pencils and other things, they have smaller bits at the top and the bottom where it's wound just a little bit tighter. This is one way that you can do that. So you're just making another coil that's attached to and part of the original coil. Okay. The other thing you might run into, let me delete coil 2 for a second. And let's re-examine sketch 1 here. Let's say this was in a flashlight. Alright, and then the diameter probably wouldn't be 0.25. It's going to be closer to 1.5 inches diameter. So that means that the radius is going to be 0.75. And maybe we have a thicker diameter wire here. So instead of 0.015, we'll go 0.03. Now, when we go into coil, it should be under edit feature. Coil size. Let's say the height is still about 1 inch. Let's go 0.75. And this time the revolutions, it's more like 4 revolutions. Here we get to play with the taper. So this is set at an angle, and if the bottom is correct, we're going to make a negative taper. So if I say negative 15 or negative 25, you can figure out what the angle is using a protractor. But this would give you some idea of how to make a spring when the sides taper in like so. And again, if you need that bottom one to coil in a little bit tighter, you can make a new sketch here. You can say project geometry. Make another coil using that face, using our y-axis again. And this time, under coil size, we can change revolutions to, let's say, just 1 revolution, and maybe change the taper angle to, I don't know, a different thing. You could have this coil back inside of here. Something else you may need to do, well, we're going to stop the video there. That's good. You have two different kinds of springs.